I want winners. I want people that want to win.
You play to win the game. You don't play to just play it.
You got to put your money where your mouth is, Pete.
It's not gambling advice. Colby, we haven't updated the people on the American League, the National League MVP, and the Cy Young Award. We have live odds. People, welcome to Not Gambling Advice. This is Wednesday, June 8th. I'm Peter Apple. That's Colby Olson. We're live betting on some awards right now because the last time we did it was April 21st. It is now June 8th. Let's take another look at how these odds have changed and who some of the best players in baseball currently are. Before I get into kind of who is leading the league in WRC plus, who's leading the league in F4, Colby, what's going on? Happy Wednesday, brother.
What's going on, man? I knew we were going to be recording about these MVP winners, future MVP winners. So I'm rocking my Barry Bonds Pirates jersey right now. This man won 7 NL MVP awards. He knows a thing or two about winning an MVP.
He also took a little bit of steroids, but that's neither here nor there. Let's talk about some of these guys because it seems like Aaron Judge right now is on steroids, but he's not. He's just an athletic freakazoid who's 6'7", 280 pounds, and he currently leads all of baseball in WRC plus at 200. He's the only guy in first place at 200. The only guy with 200 at all. Jose Ramirez is number 2 at 190. Paul Goldschmidt, 189. Yordan Alvarez, number 4 at 187. And JD Martinez at 178. Is there anybody in that list of 5 that shocks you currently?
Not really. Not really, to be honest. That's a stacked list. What about you?
I was a little bit surprised by JD Martinez being that high. I mean, I know that he's been raking, but I was expecting maybe him to be like 7th or 8th. I didn't expect him to be in the top 5.
He is having quite a season with just hitting singles. So just getting to watch a lot of Red Sox games. The announcers are even talking about it. He hits the ball over the fence at times, but just 5 home runs, and he's just been a singles machine. He's hitting 358. I mean, that's like an Ichiro slash line right now.
Kind of unbelievable. And then if we're looking at the F4 standings, Mookie Betts is number 1 in baseball right now at 3.6, Manny Machado at 3.5, Aaron Judge at 3.2, Rafael Devers at 3.2, and then Jose Ramirez at 3.1. So now we know some of the league leaders in those stats. Let's talk American League MVP. So Colby, who is your American League MVP pick and how's that going currently?
I believe my pick was Ohtani. At plus 400. And my sleeper, though, is what I'm most proud of as well. I had Jose Ramirez, I believe, at plus 1,800, maybe at plus 2,200. And he's right in the mix at plus 1,100 right now. Ohtani has, been par for the course. His ex-WOBA right now is 387 compared to a 334 WOBA. So you would expect him to really heat up here in June as the warm months happen. Obviously, the Angels have struggled, but they're going to turn it around here. Maybe the firing of Joe Madden will light a fire under their team. But Ohtani has struggled a little bit on the mound, but I don't think that changes much. It's just, to me, a guy that can pitch and hit is always going to be one of the favorites to win the MVP. Obviously, Aaron Judge, your guy, cannot stop hitting home runs at a rate we've never seen and really does have a chance to break Roger Maris's home run record that was set 61 home runs back in
1961. 1961, the year of 61. And Aaron Judge is now on pace to hit 63 home runs. I got him at plus 1,800 to start the season. He is now currently your odds-on favorite to win MVP at plus 200. I got to say, I am loving that bet. It is so much fun to watch him just hit home runs day in and day out. And we're talking about defense too. Like we said, he's one of the top 5 in F4 because he plays a really good right field. We were talking on the Just Baseball show about Juan Soto and how a lot of his value comes from his bat, of course, but you want an MVP candidate to at least be an average defender, maybe in a corner. Aaron Judge is a far above average defender in right field, while Juan Soto currently in right field is a far below average defender right now. Will that last? Probably not. But what I'm saying is that to win an MVP in a corner, you also have to be at least reasonably good defensively. And Aaron Judge has been fantastic lately.
He's been otherworldly. And so do you want to run down the list and maybe, give some of our guys that we think have a chance here?
Yeah.
Down
So
the stretch?
Yeah. So I was looking and that guy that you said, is kind of similar to David Ortiz. And I said that you are smoking crack, that you have no idea what you're talking about. And to be quite honest, that take of Yordan Alvarez is better than David Ortiz still rings true in my mind. But with all that said, plus 2,000 is a very good bet right now for Yordan Alvarez. Yordan Alvarez, and I know you're about to bring up like 70 different stats because I know you're prepared. Yordan Alvarez is not only one of the best hitters in the American League, he's one of the best hitters in baseball. This guy does not get out, not against righties, not against lefties, not at home, not on the road. He hits everything, and he hits everything hard with authority. Now that he's playing a lot of left field, he's not going to rate well defensively, but I don't think he's not the worst defender in the league. He's not the worst defender. He's not going to kill you. And I think if he puts up similar type offensive numbers to Aaron Judge, which I think he has the possibility of doing so, he could be in line. And with 10x the odds that Judge has, he's not having that much worse of an offensive season. That's the play that I'm looking at currently. Yordan Alvarez at plus 2,000, because I think that's only going to rise. And I was asked this question, Colby, and I want to fire it back at you. Who do you think is a better hitter, Kyle Tucker or Yordan Alvarez?
I don't think that is remotely even close. It's obviously Yordan Alvarez at this point. And there is an argument to be made that Yordan Alvarez is not only a top 5, not only a top 3 hitter in baseball right now, but legitimately has the potential to be. Aaron Judge, I think, has that title right now, and Mike Trout is right there. But Yordan Alvarez could be the best hitter in baseball. Right now, he leads the league in xWOBA at 508. But it's not that he leads baseball in xWOBA, it's by how much he leads baseball in xWOBA.
Crazy.
A 508 xWOBA is insane to begin with, but below that, even Judge is at 465. Below that, Harper at 439, and then below that again, you have like 4 players at 420, including Mike Trout and Wilson Contreras. I must say, that's Giancarlo Stanton's right there, but Yordan Alvarez right now has a 65.5 hard hit rate, 65.5% hard hit rate, which
it's otherworldly.
To give that a little bit of context, Aaron Judge last year had the highest ever in the StatCast era, going back to 2015, and his hard hit rate in that season was 58.5%, I believe. Judge right now has a hard hit rate in the 60s, but crazy.
Think about that. 65% of his balls are exiting his barrel at 95 miles an hour or above. It's incredible. It's absolutely incredible what Yordan Alvarez is doing at the plate. And if you can get him at plus 2,000, I do like that value. Of course, I'm sticking with my guy, Aaron Judge, what I got at the beginning of the season at plus 1,800. But if you said, oh, you don't have any bets anymore, what are you going to place now? That's the guy I'm zeroing in on. And when I'm looking at the rest of the race, there aren't a lot of guys that jump out at me right now. For example, the top 5, if we go down the list, it's Aaron Judge plus 200, Shohei Ohtani at plus 300, Trout at plus 400, Jose Ramirez at plus 1,100, and Vladdy Guerrero Jr. at plus 1,800. Vladdy, of course, could go on a crazy, crazy pace, but I just don't think he's going to catch Judge at the pace that he started through the first 2 months. Shohei Ohtani could do it, but he's going to have to get started real soon. But then again, he's been pitching pretty well, so he really just has to be. But then again, the Angels are starting to fall. Again, that makes sense with Trout too. And then Jose Ramirez, I just don't know if the Guardians are going to be in the playoff picture. So that's why, then you go down to Byron Buxton at plus 2,000. He's been a guy who's just dealing with injuries. Also, he's not playing that well this year. Still good, still slugging, but the batting average department isn't there. And that's where I come to Yordan Alvarez, because I feel like Rafael Devers does have a shot. Again, will the Red Sox be there at the end of the year? I think they have a good shot, but I know the Astros will. So Yordan Alvarez is my pick at plus 2,000 in the American League MVP. Did you have another pick that you were looking at right now?
No, I'm rolling with Yordan Alvarez along with you. And I think Yordan Alvarez at plus 2,000 in terms of ceiling and potential, like you were saying, he's not a great defender, but he kind of is that JD Martinez-like player where he has the ceiling of being the best hitter. Not JD Martinez this year. I think JD Martinez, back in his prime when he was putting up 160 to 170 WRC pluses back-to-back years, Yordan Alvarez actually has a ceiling, I think, above that. I think Yordan Alvarez could get close to a 200 WRC plus across a full season. He has that potential. Trout and Harper are the only two that have done it in recent memory, but
Soto did it in that 2020 year, but
shortened.
it was COVID. So yeah, but yeah, to your point, it's for example, just for reference, last year Bryce Harper led all of baseball with a 170 WRC plus, and we're talking about Yordan Alvarez possibly being better than that. Let's move on to the National League MVP. Mookie Betts is right now your current favorite at plus 290, and for good reason. He's the league leader in F4, and that's the great part about Mookie Betts is that Mookie Betts, not only do we know he's going to hit, but I feel like he's finally healthy. And when you have a healthy Mookie Betts, you have, if not the greatest defender in right field, maybe the best outfielder, period, defensively. And then when you combine his ability to hit for power, his speed, his bat to ball, he is one of the best players in baseball right now and deserves to be the odds-on favorite right now in the National League. Then we go to number 2 at Manny Machado at 425. Same thing with the defense. It's like 98th percentile on odds above average. Unbelievable bat, almost a better glove. Paul Goldschmidt looks like the greatest hitter against left-handed pitching of all time. He's hitting 500 against lefties. He's 20 for 40 going into today because we're recording on Tuesday. He's unreal. I don't love those odds, though, plus 425. I really don't. I think he's going to regress. I still think he's going to have a fantastic season, but that's not the MVP in my eyes. Pete Alonso, one of the league leaders in home runs, one of the league leaders in RBIs. Again, first baseman, not going to impact the game in a ton of ways.
You got to be the best hitter in the league.
And I have a future on him.
Okay.
Most home runs in baseball, most RBIs in baseball. Liking the RBIs, I don't think he's going to catch Judge. For Pete Alonso to win the MVP, he's got to hit like 55 jacks and drive in 130 runs or something like that. Like Vladdy last year at 48 bombs drove in so many and didn't win it over Ohtani. It's just one of those things. But Bryce Harper at plus 900. So Bryce Harper was my original pick to win MVP. And if I remember correctly, I think it was around plus 800, plus 900. So the odds haven't really moved.
I like that one. I like that one a lot right now.
I don't mind that one, Colby. I don't mind that one because he's going to get healthy too, and he's still hitting the ball, as good as ever. The only thing is he's been injured, so he hasn't been able to play the field, but he's going to come back.
Do you wonder that, would you rather 145 or 140 games from Bryce Harper where he's playing in the outfield and he's, he's a subpar defender? I mean, let's just face it, right?
He's like if you have elite, good, average, below average, bad,
he's right in
he's
between.
Like right below average and average.
Yeah.
Like
right in there.
Right in the little sweet spot.
So to me, I mean, I'd rather him play every single day in the DH role, be healthy, but be that much better of a hitter and also play more. So if you're getting 15 more games of Bryce Harper at the plate, that's the way to go. And I think he's third right now in xWOBA, and the Phillies are right there in that race. If he can kind of just like nudge them to the finish line, he definitely has a shot as the reigning MVP.
So I have another pick that I've been looking at that I think just has really good value, similar to Yordan Alvarez, but it has better value. And this player is arguably better than Yordan Alvarez. That's Ronaldo Cooney Jr. at plus 3,000. And he was one of my leans for MVP at the beginning of the year. My only concern, of course, was the knee injury as he came back this year.
And missing a month is just tough. Puts him in a hole.
Missing a month is tough. It puts him in a hole. But the production is there, Colby. He's playing really well, and he's playing good defense too. I sort of see a narrative forming. I think if the Braves could add big-time moves at the deadline, Alex Anthopoulos, their GM, came out and said that he's already doing some window shopping for players, basically. They add big time at the deadline. They go on a roll. Let's say they make the playoffs or at least come close to the Mets, and Ronaldo Cooney Jr. has an amazing summer. He could win MVP if Bryce Harper takes a little dive or possibilities like that. I think Mookie Betts should be the front runner. I think Mookie Betts has a very good shot to win MVP at plus 290, but plus 290, I'm not going to take him, of course. So plus 3,000 at Ronaldo Acuna Jr. sounds good to me. Does that sound good to you?
I like it for the value because Acuna Jr. actually hasn't hit his stride fully yet. His home run per fly ball right now is at 12%. This is a guy that had a 24% home run per fly ball rate last year, 32% in 2020, but obviously the shortened season, a small sample there, but it shows you what he can do over a stretch of 60 games. I mean, he can really take over the game. He is hitting the ball on the ground a lot more than this year, and I I do think that's a product of the knee injury and just kind of rehabbing. It doesn't mean he's still not an amazing hitter right now, and I'm not saying that at all, but it's just he's not even still 100%.
Something to watch is basically what you're saying. It's not that it's like, oh, wow, this is bad.
No, it's not a concern. It's more so it's just kind of par for the course, right? You don't expect a guy to come back from an ACL injury and immediately be 100%. He's still 90 to 95%, and 90 to 95% of Ronaldo Cooney Jr. still is an MVP caliber player. And that's pretty freakish in its own right. Well, Peter, I think I do like Mookie Betts at plus 290.
That's not good value, though. It really isn't. Plus 290 on a future. It's not good enough value for me. That's my opinion on it. Like, I would never put a future on it because things can change. Like, so many things can change. And plus 290, that is not good enough value. But with that said, he should be the front runner. And if you put a gun to my head and said, who do I think is going to win? I think Mookie Betts is going to win. So I guess it's not, but it's just for the value. I don't like it.
That's fair. That's fair. And just for reference, this is the 2018 AL MVP, right? Mookie Betts.
Yes.
In that season, going back to that season, just ridiculous. I mean, he didn't even play the whole season. He played 136 games. He hit 32 bombs, stole 30 bags, was one of the best defenders in the game. And I think that is the one thing about this season that we've seen from him, that his defense has returned in a big way. I don't think to the tune of where he was in 2017, 2018, because he was a 25 DRS guy back then, which is ridiculous. One of the best defenders in all of baseball. This year he has 4 DRS, and I think he ends up in the 12 to 15 range at the end of the season. But he's a Gold Glove defender out there. And if the bat, so in 2018 he had a 185 WRC plus. Right now he has a 172. He can get close to that. I really think he can get close to that.
Here's my thinking on the plus 3,000 for Acuna. When I look at people around him, I don't think Trey Turner is going to win the MVP. I don't. I think he's a great player, and he's plus 2,500. Juan Soto is plus 3,000. He ain't winning the MVP, Colby. Like I said, it's not even about his play. Even if he was playing amazing right now, the Nationals are not going to win enough games. He's going to have to hit 60 home runs, and he's just not going to do that with no protection in his lineup. So plus 3,000, I'm not touching. CJ Cron at plus 3,000? No. I mean, come on. First baseman in Coors, he's not winning it. Francisco Lindor, he's not winning it either. Christian Yelich, he's not winning it. Plus 5,000.
I haven't heard about him in a while.
That's what I'm saying. Austin Riley plus 5,000. Matt Olson plus 5,000. Jazz Chisholm plus 6,600. There's a name in there that can win the MVP, and that's Ronaldo Cooney Jr. And he's around guys who won't win it. That's my thinking there, that he has the shot. And at plus 3,000, you like $10 to win 300. And you can do that on MyBookie, because on MyBookie, if you use the link in our episode description, they will give you a 50% match on your deposit. So if you deposit up to $1,000, you get a 50% match on MyBookie. We've been saying this all season. They tend to have the best lines in baseball. I can't speak on football and basketball. We aren't there yet, but what I can say is that Colby and I are gambling, or not gambling, on baseball every single day, and we're using MyBookie because they always have the better baseball lines in our eyes. So if you use that link in our episode description, you get a 50% deposit match on MyBookie. Click that link, and we'll see you out there. Thank you, everybody. Colby, Cy Young. Unless you have anything else on the MVP.
No, I think we move on to Cy Young.
Let's talk Cy Young, because I know you're the pitching guy. Let's talk Cy Young and move into the American League. So right now, the leaders in the American League, we have Justin Verlander at plus 425, Shane McClanahan at plus 600, Garrett Cole at plus 600, Nestor Cortez Jr. at plus 700, and Kevin Gausman at plus 800. Why is he ahead of Alek Manoah? I don't really know, but that's not the point here. Who is your guy that you're looking at right now? And give us a reminder of who your pick for American League Cy Young was at the beginning of the year.
So my pick at the beginning of the year was Garrett Cole. Mm-hmm. I live bet him.
As was mine.
2 starts after the season, or no, maybe it was like 3 or 4 starts after the season. He kind of got off to a slow start, and his odds plunged from, I think, plus 750 preseason, Peter. Mm-hmm. Can you check me on that? Plus 600, maybe. It was pretty high.
Are you saying what did it fall to?
It was preseason plus 600, I believe.
Preseason, it was plus 450.
Oh, wow. Okay. So I grabbed it at plus 1,200 2 weeks into the season.
Not too bad.
Right now, he's sitting at what, plus 800 and
Plus 600.
right now.
Yeah, I'm looking at that. I'm looking at the AL Cy Young Award odds.
Oh crap! Yeah, okay, plus 600. My bad. My bad. Excuse me. But 2.78 ERA, and he has been the dominant arm that we expected. He had one blow up start. I was actually at the game against the Orioles. Gave up 5 earned. He still struck out 10 in that game. He went 8 innings, which is like.
I know. I made a joke to you. I was like, Colby, by the numbers, thinks that's a good start. And I'm like, Colby, give up 5 earned runs to the Orioles. But I understand what you were saying.
He gave up just 1 home run. He gave up 10 hits, and like a lot of those hits were just, balls that were dropping that night. Whatever reason, it happens. It's easy to get hit out of baseball games. He wasn't walking anybody. This is still, in my belief, the second best pitcher in baseball right now. Behind Corbin Burns, best pitcher in the AL. And I am willing to bet on Garrett Cole.
You're forgetting Jacob deGrom. Are you? You're on the Corbin Burns 1, Garrett Cole 2. Are you? Or you're just saying people pitching right now?
People who are healthy in the league right now.
Okay.
Obviously, when deGrom is healthy on the mound, you'd put me in an insane asylum if I said that Jacob deGrom wasn't the best pitcher in baseball. But he is the second best. I think Garrett Cole right now, without Jacob deGrom in the picture, is the second best pitcher in baseball, and is worthy of those odds right now. I think he is the third favorite right now to win the award. I think he's the one.
So Colby and I are both on Garrett Cole, and I don't think it's biased to continue to say that Garrett Cole is still the pick in the league. I think Shane McClanahan could really do it, but he's another guy who's still young. I wonder if they're going to give him like the full workload this year. Like, let him run. He's got all the innings. He could go 200. Do you think that the Rays will do that with him?
I think he's ready for it. He pitched a good
whether
amount
he's ready
year.
for it or whether the Rays will do it is another question.
He did throw 123 innings last year, and that's enough for me to believe that he can go 170 to 180 this year. And I think he has the stuff to be able to win this award with that workload. Right now, 2.10 ERA, a 2.42 xERA, and he is striking out 12.5 per 9 and walking less than 2 per 9.
I think it's between him and Garrett Cole. Verlander, I do think is going to regress. 39 years old. I still think he's going to turn in a great season. Like, when I say regress, I just mean not have an ERA below 2. Like, not just be otherworldly. I still think he's going to be around a 2.80 ERA. I think he's going to be close to 200 innings. I think he's going to be over 200 strikeouts. But I think when we look back on the year, Garrett Cole and Shane McClanahan will have a bit of a better seasons than him. And I also think the MVP could come out of Houston if we're talking about Yordan Alvarez. But that's where I think the competition is for me. And I would never lay 425 on Verlander. I don't like those odds at all. But plus 600 on Garrett Cole, I already have the future, so I'm not going to put it again. But I think plus 600, we got it at plus 450. I still think he's going to win. I really do. So that's kind of my pick. But when I look at a kind of a dark horse, let's say.
Can I jump in on Verlander real quick?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Go ahead.
Okay. So Verlander, the concerning parts of his game right now, 2.23 ERA is fantastic, but a 3.76 FIP, and his walk rate is way down, Peter. 35% back in 2019. This year, it's down to 25%.
Strikeout rate.
Did I say walk rate?
You said walk rate. It's all good. Doesn't matter.
Strikeout rate, 25% this year. I mean, that's down 10%, and he's clearly just not as dominant of a pitcher from just a really stuff perspective, right? He can command the hell out of a game, which is why he's always going to overperform these advanced statistics. But I think he's not the best bet, especially as the odds on favorite right now.
Agreed. And so this guy has all the value in the world, Colby. And you and I talked about him stock up, stock down, and you brought this to my attention. So I'll give it away to you. Our value pick has way too much value, and nobody's going to touch him because nobody wants to bet on a Texas Ranger to win the American League Cy Young.
It's just kind of comical to see that he's plus 5,000. Martin Perez of the Texas Rangers has a 1.56 ERA, and he's plus 5,000 to win the Cy Young right now, which is basically not a chance at all. And I think he does have a chance. Maybe it's slim. He's, not going to be the strikeout guy. He's going to be the guy that gets ground balls, weak contact. We talked all about him in our last episode, right? What do you think, Peter? I want to ask you, what do you think Martin Perez has to do? Like, let's kind of visualize this. What does he have to do in order to win the Cy Young? Is it, win 15? It's going to be hard on the Rangers, but I think if he's the guy every single day, he can win half of his starts with the Rangers. Is it finished with an ERA? What ERA is he going to need?
I think he needs an ERA under 2 to win the Cy Young, because it's a lot. It's the Texas Rangers, like Garrett Cole's going to have like an ERA at 2.45, 2.5 with, 230 strikeouts. McClanahan might have 250 strikeouts with a 2.3. So he's going to need a 1.9 ERA because he's not going to have the strikeout numbers. He's not going to have the gaudy win totals. That's what he's got to do. But I think he could do it. Do you think so?
It is such a Snell-esque, Porcello-esque Cy Young. And even looking at what Robbie Ray did last season with a 2.78 or something around that, obviously was the deserving candidate in the AL. And I think Martin Perez could do something similar.
I think he could too. And plus 5,000, that is worthy of a sprinkle. And what else is worthy of a sprinkle in our eyes is Prize Picks, because Not Gambling Advice is sponsored by Prize Picks. And we've been giving out MLB player props. I do a Twitter space every single day on my Twitter at PeterApple23. Colby's dog just jumped into the frame too for all those.
He wants to get on Prize Picks.
He wants to get it on Prize Picks.
As far as I know, dogs are not allowed, but they should be.
They should be. As long as you're 21 years old, jump on Prize Picks with us.
18.
Use the link. 18. Jump on the link in our episode description as well. You'll see it right there next to my bookie. You get a 100% deposit match of everything that you put into Prize Picks. You put in $100, you get $100. So all that free money, you get to play along with us all season long. And we're just sprinkling. It's nothing crazy. But what we have been seeing is that we put in 5 and we win 4 out of 5. You 2x your money. Even if you win 3 out of 5, that's the great thing about this. It's not a regular parlay where if you lose 1 of the 5, you lose altogether. No, you can still win money on Prize Picks, and we do it daily. So click the link and you get a full deposit match on Prize Picks. You love Prize Picks, Colby.
I just love the, go on there and figure out a strategy every single day. And you can really get deep into picking players every day. Because you pick even 2 or 3 or 4 guys. We usually do 5.
Yeah.
But you can really like fine tune, because there's 10 or 12 categories that you can pick from. So you can really fine tune and find edges in there. And I love it.
That's what we've been doing. And we've been winning too. So make sure you join with us. Join me on Twitter at 2 p.m. Eastern. My Twitter is at PeterApple23. That's in the episode description, as well as the link to get some free money over at Prize Picks to help play with us all season long. Let's break into the National League Cy Young. And before we get into the National League Cy Young, I just want to let everybody know we will be doing Rookie of the Year odds next week with our guy, Aram Layton. More as we get a little bit closer to the season. We got to see more of these rookies too before we really go over it. We want to bring on Aram, so we're sticking to the Cy Young here. Colby, let's wrap with the NL Cy Young. Number 1 is Corbin Burns at plus 400. 2 is Joe Musgrove at plus 600. Sandy Alcantara at plus 600 for the Miami Marlins. Carlos Rodon at plus 1,000 for the San Francisco Giants. And Pablo Lopez, again, at plus 1,000. Corbin Burns is the best pitcher in baseball outside of Jacob deGrom. And at plus 400, he was my Cy Young pick. I still like him to win. Oh, wait, no, he wasn't my Cy Young pick. Who was my Cy Young pick? It was Walker frickin' Buehler, who... I wish it was Corbin Burns, to be honest with you. My Cy Young pick was actually Walker Buehler. And Walker Buehler has the 6th best odds at plus 1,400, and he's gotten off to a terrible start. And by run value, his fastball is the 4th worst pitch in baseball. I will say it again. By run value, it's a stat on Baseball Savant. Quantifies how good the pitch is compared to average. It's about 11 runs worse than the average fastball. Colby, what's wrong with Walker Buehler?
I brought this up probably a couple months ago on this podcast. I believe it was 2 or 3 weeks after the season started. We were talking about guys that we were concerned about at the time, pitchers that we, didn't like what we had seen thus far. And I said, Walker Buehler, his fastball velocity is down again. It was 96 to 97 3 years ago. Last year, it was down to 95.5. This year, it's sometimes even lower than that. And
yeah,
he's just not going to be able to be as effective. Honestly, I mean, obviously, he's still an amazing pitcher, right? We're not saying that. But yeah, I don't know if he has what it takes to win the Cy Young.
I don't think so either. So I'm looking at that bet and not loving it. And when I looked at this, my eyes go to one man and one man only. Corbin Burns at plus 400. I just think he's going to win it again. I think he's the best pitcher in this league, outside of Jacob deGrom, of course. His stuff looks amazing. He did just get beat up a little bit by the Padres, and Joe Musgrove had a great start against the Brewers. I think Joe Musgrove does have a shot here. I think Sandy has a shot here. And besides that...
You think Sandy has a shot, though? Again, going back to the bad team thing.
I do, because Sandy is almost as good as these guys. I mean, Sandy is
I'm not saying that. I'm just saying more.
So I'm saying if Sandy leads the league in innings, let's say he strikes out over 200 guys and he has an ERA in the low twos, that could be a Cy Young candidate. Let's say Corbin Burns gives you 160 this year, 170 innings, and maybe Musgrove, falls off a little bit. That could be the win for Sandy, but at plus 600, I don't love it. I'm just saying Sandy is only getting better.
He really could.
He is amazing.
He's 6-2.
He's amazing.
He dominates outings. And I think Corbin is the pick. I had him at plus 750 about 2 weeks in this season as well. I live bet him. After we went on that huge win streak at the beginning of the year, Pete, we were up like 20 units. I took probably 5-6 units and I just sprinkled them around, random live bet futures.
I love it.
Oh yeah. They look really good right now. Actually, they look really good. A lot of my futures. So sometimes it's the best.
Jacob deGrom is plus 6,600. Do you consider a sprinkle?
I would rather sprinkle plus 2,500 on Josh Hader than Corbin or than Jacob deGrom. That is.
Tell me why.
Because right now, Josh Hader has not given up a run this year in 17 and 2/3 innings. He has not given up. Right? You think, okay, it's only 17 innings, but these are high leverage situations, the hardest situations to pitch in all of baseball. And Josh Hader has not allowed one run in any of those, right? So I'm not saying that this is likely, but if Josh Hader has an ERA, of 0.5 to 0.8, legitimately could happen over a full season if he stays on this track. If say he pitches last year, he threw 60 innings. He threw 75 in 2019. If he can get to 65 to 70 innings, be a lockdown closer, and have an ERA under 1, I think he'll at least be in the conversation.
So what I'm doing right now is I'm pulling up Zach Britton's stats, because Zach Britton in 2016 put up one of the greatest reliever seasons that we've seen in the last 10 years, 20 years. 2016 with the Orioles, he threw 67 innings. He had a 0.54 ERA. Finished 4th in the Cy Young, finished 11th in MVP voting with 47 saves, and he had 74 strikeouts in those 67 innings. Colby, not only do I think Josh Hader could have more saves, I think he could have a better ERA. I think he could have more strikeouts, and I think he could pitch more innings. But will he win the Cy Young, though? Yeah. Because Britton finished 4th. He's not going to win the Cy Young, but he could have one of the great reliever seasons of all time.
I don't think it's worth the bet, but I think it's I just really wanted to bring it up because it's crazy. I think you're right. What would it take then? Like a 0.3 ERA?
It would probably have to take he'd probably have to give up like 2 runs this year, strike out 17 per 9, not walk anybody, and have 50 saves, which is not out of the realm of possibility.
I mean, it's still possible because he has a 0 ERA.
It is still entirely possible. Is there anybody else on this slate that you're looking at? Because really, Tony Gonsolin is interesting at plus 6,600.
He caught my eye as well.
He is. Because nobody's going to know him. Well, that's a lie. But plenty of people know him.
Not in this context, though.
That's what I'm saying. In this context, like Tony Gonsolin winning the Cy Young, it doesn't make sense. But the guy is 6-0 with an ERA at 1.59. It's incredible, and his stuff is unreal. He has an outside shot. That was the line that I saw and said, you know what? Like if he's around, Jacob deGrom was at plus 6,600. I don't think Yu Darvish is winning it this year. I was like, you know what? Tony Gonsolin does have a shot when I'm looking at the odds here. So that was my thinking there, but I'm not going to sprinkle on it.
He is 6-0. He 1.59 ERA, a 2.6 xERA. And I think there's some luck involved there, but
yeah,
people can get lucky over full season. He has the stuff. So it's interesting.
It's interesting. So those are the odds for the NL Cy Young, the AL Cy Young, the AL MVP, and the NL MVP. If you're watching on YouTube, leave us a like and put in the comments section who you think are going to win all these awards, who you guys are not gambling on. Check out those links in our episode description. Prize Picks, MyBookie, both of them are giving you free money. Anything else before we go, Colby?
What's your favorite album ever?
Oh, and music because of the albums behind me?
Yeah.
You know, I got to say, this isn't my favorite album ever, but Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers, the new Kendrick Lamar album, I am obsessed with. But I think my favorite album is right here. Wait.
J. Cole?
2014 Forest Hills Drive. I mean, these are my favorite albums. Like you see them back there. That's Kate Tronada. That's Good Kid, Mad City. That's Kid Cudi. That's Hosier. That's Travis Scott. We got up there. We got Imperial by Denzel Curry, and I love Glass Animals. That's my vibe. You know, I'm
a good
California
vibe.
dude.
Kate Tronada. Really like
love
him.
Kate Tronada. Love Kate Tronada. What's your favorite album?
Anderson .Paak, Malibu might be my favorite album ever.
Phenomenal.
I love the Blueprint, Jay-Z, some Mac Miller, Swimming.
Some good ones. So we're going to talk on Friday. We got a mailbag question. So if you have any questions about music, maybe, but mostly fantasy baseball or gambling, we'll put that on our Twitter at gambling_advice. Make sure you go follow it. That's in the episode description too. And with that, thank you, everybody.